Hey guys, T-Jack here. I want to welcome you back into my YouTube channel. If you like today's video, please make sure to like and subscribe below. It helps me in creating great content in the future for you and catering stuff to what you'll like. The last couple of days, I've done collectibles in my collection. I've showcased the Pokemon ones, whether it be Pikachu, Funko Pop yesterday, and the day before was a BGS 9 Charizard. So sticking along with that trend, I'm very big on Pokemon. I have a treat for you guys today, and I'm actually going to do a 2-for-1, two of my favorite cards in my collection, and they come from the same set and they are both graded. They are, first off, a PSA 10 Shining Mewtwo. You can see it there. Second one is a PSA 9 Shining Noctowl. Now both of these cards come from the Neo Destiny set. I'll go ahead and show them both one more time. PSA 9, PSA 10, so they're both in great condition. I mentioned that these both come from the Neo Destiny set. This was the last set from the Neo expansion. Now, if you followed the Pokemon trading card game back in the day, you'll know that they did kind of like the first generation sets going through Team Rocket, Jungle Fossil base set, and the gym challenges and all that. And then they went on to the Neo expansions, which brought in some of the Gen 2 Pokemon, like a lot of the Johto region, if you're familiar with those ones. And they called those ones like Neo Destiny, Neo Discovery, and they all fell along that line. Well, these two cards came from the last set. It's called Neo Discovery once again, and it was, Neo Destiny. And these were very sought after cards. Even today, they're still very sought after because they're not in print. The printer that actually made them was Wizards of the Coast, and they lost the printing rights, I believe, in around 2003 for Pokemon cards. So they're still very rare. And this set itself, Neo Destiny, it's a set that it's very expensive to get sealed product though. Booster packs, if you go on eBay, they sell anywhere from $150 to $180 right now. That's just for a pack. You're not guaranteed anything good in it, especially not a shining or anything like that. But you'll be paying a pretty hefty price, and you don't even know if they're not weighed. So it's quite a gamble there. And the booster boxes are relatively expensive in comparison to some of the other ones. For a non-first edition, you're looking at somewhere around $8,000. In first edition, you're looking at $15,000, which is what you get a Skyridge box for at this point, which is probably the rarest and most sought after set because of its print run. But just a little bit of background on how I got these cards in my collection. The Mewtwo was one that I came across in the last year. I got it on a really good price. At a PSA 10, I've seen it go for as low as $300. And right now it's at $500, which is kind of ridiculous. I don't think I've actually seen it sold, but I've seen it listed. And if it continues to be that way, people will probably buy it at that price or pretty close to it, but even $300. So that's kind of like a little bit lower deal. Fortunately, I got it for much cheaper than that. Like I said, most of the cards I got were actually below market. The power of negotiating and talking people down. And the Shining Noctowl was one that my mother-in-law got for me. If you become a fan of this channel, you'll probably hear a lot about some of the cards that my mother-in-law gets me. She's very generous, and she's kind of privy to the hobby, and there's a lot of things I like, and she's happy to oblige that. But she actually got this one for me as a gift, and I've always been a Noctowl fan. It was one of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 2. I always loved the owl, and it was just so cool. Like, it was kind of a psychic type Pokemon. And in the anime, if you remember watching it, that one was actually Shining Noctowl. So it's very similar, and I'll get into right now a little bit more about these cards and what makes them stand out. So they're a little bit different. You might be able to see down here in the corner, there is 3 stars there for the rarity, and that's a little bit unique. And for shining Pokemon cards, I can't remember the exact rarity or the pull percentage for these, but I believe there were around 6 in this set. Shining Tyranitar. In addition to the Noctowl Mewtwo, there was Shining Tyranitar, Shining Celebi, Shining Charizard, which is probably the most sought after. There was Shining Kabutops. I'm trying to remember some of these other ones. Shining Raichu. I actually have a list of them right here. Shining Steelix. And that was the last one. So you get all of those ones. Charizard's probably still the one that is the gold standard, but Probably coming in second, I'd say, amongst the bunch is the Mewtwo, just because of how popular a card it is. So if you can get it here in a 10, it's remarkable. The Charizard itself from this set, if you're looking at PSA 10 for the unlimited version, you're looking at, I'd say, around $900. I believe is the going rate for it right now. For first edition, I believe it pushes anywhere between $2,000 to $3,000. It's the power of it. And something also about this set, it was the last set that actually had first edition cards in it. I know Wizards of the Coast was having a little bit of trouble getting cards out before some of the unlimited ones, so it often happened that there'd be unlimited packs coming out before first edition packs, and it kind of defeated the purpose. So Neo's Destiny kind of marked the end of a lot of different things in the Pokemon TCG era. It was the last time for a while that you saw these these style cards where they weren't e-reader or anything like that, and the last time you saw first edition, and it was the end of the Neo expansion. After that, they kind of switched to the E series, which I'll talk about those in a later video, because I have a special treat from some of the E series sets that I want to share with you guys. But these were some of my favorite cards, and I never owned any of these ones growing up. Surprisingly, the one that I did own was a Shining Charizard. There was a kid in my school that actually had one, and I don't think he really knew the value of it. So, and that was around the time that Yu-Gi-Oh was getting really popular too. And I was kind of a step ahead on Yu-Gi-Oh, so I had some rare cards at the time, ones that were very popular, and I was able to trade and parlay some of those into that Charizard. Now, the unfortunate part about having that Charizard and being a kid at that point, I believe I was around 8 or 9, you always wanted to carry it with you. I didn't keep it in the sleeve, and one time I actually forgot to take it out of my pocket and it went through the wash, and I still kept it afterwards, even though it was in really, really beat up and rough condition. I no longer have the card now, but to me, that was awesome. That was always one of my favorite cards growing up, was the Shining Charizard. Just in any of those original iterations of Charizard, hold a special place in my heart, because there's several of them outside the base set one. I had quite a few of them, and there are some that I'll show you later as I go through this channel and create more videos for you. But again, I just really wanted to show these ones off. I think that they're the Shining cards. They were the first introduction that we had to Shining Pokemon. Kind of discolored, not discolored, but they were different colors. You can't really see it here. The holo pattern's a little bit different, but the Pokemon itself is actually holographic as opposed to the background. Same for the Noctowl. These Pokemon, they were different colors. For some of these, I think the only one that you could see in the set before it came out were Shining Magikarp. It was gold, and red Gyarados. But these, Gen 2 was the introduction of shiny Pokemon. So a lot of people really sought after these cards for that. It was a lot of fun to really go searching for these, even though I never pulled any of them myself back then. Just having these in my collection now is really special, and I love having it, especially the Mewtwo. Like I said, I can't say enough cool things about this. Everybody always wanted Mewtwo. It was one of the favorite legendaries because he was the star of the first Pokemon movie. That was the introduction. A lot of people had different cards, whether it be the promo cards that were very popular with Mewtwo. So for me, they had this in my collection. It's one of my favorites, and I don't ever imagine selling it. I'd like to keep it in there forever. It's just something that as the price of the Pokemon card just keeps going up, it's something that I'd say in a couple of years it's probably going to reach between 800, maybe even push up to $1,000, especially since these cards are no longer printed. But I can't see myself parting with it. Once you get a card in a perfect grade, it's something that you really do appreciate, and you kind of want to hold on to. Unless something comes along that I have an opportunity to get something a little bit bigger and better, then I might sell it and kind of trade up to that. But outside that, it's something I anticipate keeping in my collection. But again, guys, if you like today's video, please make sure to like and subscribe. And again, give me a little bit of feedback. You can follow me on Twitter. I am at CollectorTJack. I also have my personal account. It's at TJackRH. You can always reach out to me there if you like the videos and give me any sort of feedback. I'm usually pretty responsive there. But again, if you like it, please make sure to give me any sort of feedback. I'm more than happy to hear your suggestions and hear some of the things that you want me to talk about that I have in my collection. My collection goes through Dragon Ball Z, it goes through Kingdom Hearts, it goes through various Disney, a bunch of Funko. We have Harry Potter Funkos, Power Rangers, pretty much anything you can name from 90s nostalgia. I have it. Big fan of it, in addition to Pokemon. But yeah, absolutely. Again, if you liked it, please feel free to reach out. I'll see you in the next video.